All right, so what's your name and what's your graduation year?
My name is Stacy Findley, and I graduated 2001.
All right. Were there any major historical moments that you remember from your high school career?
Oh, goodness. Y2K. That was a big thing when the end of 1999. That was a big thing. Everyone stocked up on water, and they thought that there was going to be a big thing whenever it became 2000, but obviously it didn't. So
Yes. Is that?
I would say major historical things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So when you went to school, wherever here, right?
Mm-hmm.
What was the atmosphere like? Basically, who did you hang out with? Was it strict? Things like that.
It was not strict. I was part of the HIP program, which I don't know if they still have that. But basically it was block scheduling, and it was the same group of 100 kids that were in this program. And so we would basically travel classes together. So you really got to know those kids really well. And it just seemed like everyone was just really friendly and friends with everyone. And the teachers were all really nice, and just a really laid back atmosphere.
That's good. So is there something that you enjoyed the most out of everything in high school, something that comes to mind?
I would say Dennis Lindsay's English class. So I had him for 2 years, just exposure to literature and writing. It was just a great experience. I've always loved to read and always loved to write. And now actually for my career, I write grants. So not everyone that likes to write, not everyone that loves to write ends up being writing books. They can write other things. And so I think just helping develop me as a person, just outside of school, but just helping me explore those interests.
Yeah. Okay. So when you went here, was there a rivalry between North and East?
I guess there was, but I really feel like my age group, we were friends with kids from East. And I don't remember football being a huge sport then. So I just remember being friends with kids from North and East. But I would say during basketball season, yes, there was a rivalry. But otherwise, it wasn't, I don't think, as a big a deal as it is currently. But always a good time, though, to play East in any kind of sport.
Yeah. So obviously you were talking about your favorite class. Was that your favorite teacher that you ever had?
Yeah, so I really liked Dennis Lindsay. I also liked Mr. King. He was my social studies, economics teacher, and I just remember Mr. King as well, kind of almost preparing us, because our junior and senior year, you're preparing to go to college and preparing to be adults, and I really feel like he kind of gave exposure to all of the things that, like picking a major in college, what you could expect with those salaries, what your lifestyle would be like. He also talked to us about buying our first car. I just found it really, really beneficial. That academic part is obviously important, but I also feel like preparing students for real life is also equally as important. And he did a great job of that. So I would say those were my two favorite.
Yeah. So when you went here, did you guys have your friend group? Did you guys have a place you always met up at, a restaurant or a hangout place?
Yes, so we did. Back in the day, it was called Olympia. It is now where Subway is. And every day for lunch or before games or after school events, we would meet up there and have a snack or lunch or whatever. And it was within walking distance, so that was nice.
Mm-hmm. Okay, you don't remember your principal?
I don't remember my principal. I was a pretty good kid, so
Yeah.
I guess that's a good thing that I don't remember the principal.
That's good. Yes, that is.
Yeah.
Okay, did you have senior projects when you were here?
I did not have senior projects, but I work for the Parks Department, and so now I mentor for senior projects. So my only experience has been as a mentor, not actually doing the senior projects.
So I guess since you didn't have it in high school, how have you kind of seen that develop as you've been a mentor?
I absolutely have. So I was someone, I did like to get involved in community activities, and I feel like senior projects have been a way for kids that do have that passion or passion for different things, to kind of create something bigger outside of than just like a school project. There's been some really great senior projects come out of Columbus, so that's been really exciting. But I feel like it's just like anything else. Senior projects, I think they can be as minuscule or as impactful as the student would like for them to be. So I feel like that's nice. I feel like it also gives kind of a safe space to explore some things that you otherwise wouldn't be able to do. So yeah, I think I've had a good experience with them. Some of them have been very low key, and then some of them I'm just like, man, I can't believe a senior in high school that they were able to complete that. So kind of both ends of the spectrum, so that's been nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, do you remember how big the school was when you were here?
I think I graduated with almost 400 kids.
Mm.
So I think there's like maybe 1,200.
That's big. Okay, did you guys have like any styles? Like
Oh my goodness.
clothes in your school?
I would say just like t-shirt and jeans. I was always kind of a tomboy, so I would always wear like gym shorts and a t-shirt. Ponytails. I see kids like high schoolers nowadays, and they just look so put together and fashionable. And I don't remember high school being like that. I remember like bib overalls, corduroys, just like big sweatshirts. Teams, I remember having, just like lots of like sports stuff. I just don't remember like fashion being a huge thing whenever. It's just like everyone just kind of did their own thing, and there just wasn't an emphasis on that.
Yeah, I totally see that. So, from your email that you sent, your best friend,
Mhm.
she passed away. So, how did that affect you? And yeah.
I would say that I think it made me savor everything even more, and it made me appreciate the friendships that I had and then my time that I had with her. And I think it also, I think that there was like a loss of innocence. I think it made me grow up maybe a little faster than I think other kids that hadn't experienced loss. That wasn't, we had quite a few in my class that had passed away too. So Julie Kreider was another one of my friends that passed away. So I feel like maybe that's why our class wasn't so, it was very inclusive and very laid back. It's like I feel like all of us, even though we were in high school, still kind of had that perspective of, of like, I don't know, mortality and that's not to place not to give things importance that didn't deserve it. So I don't know. I think, unfortunately it did happen and there wasn't anything I could do to prevent it, but I do think that maybe that it gave me focus that I wouldn't have otherwise had.
Yeah. Totally get that. Anything else?
Just maybe, were you in any particular extracurriculars that?
Yeah, so I played basketball up until my sophomore year. So I played through my sophomore year. I ran track for a couple years. I was really involved in Spanish. I did Spanish club. I went to Mexico with my Spanish class. I think we were one of the last classes that were able to go to Mexico. So I went to Mexico my junior year with a group of kids. Yeah, I was on homecoming one year. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I think that was so basketball, track, Spanish.
Okay. And then I guess finally, what would you say was the defining moment of your high school experience? Like
Or
that.
what made it unique?
Yeah.
I would say going to Mexico my junior year. We did some physical labor. We were in a really small village. We poured concrete. We helped out the people that lived in the village. And I think I've always kind of had something inside of me that I knew that I wanted to help people. And so I feel like that was kind of my defining moment. That was like, I want to travel. I want to help people. And I still have a love for the Spanish language and the culture, so that's really helped. I kind of feel like that kind of steered me in the direction. I worked in nonprofits my whole career, so I've always worked with kids. I've always had a passion for kids. I have 3 kids of my own, so and that was another thing. I just remember just playing soccer with the kids in Mexico in the streets, and the relationships that I made with the local people there, and I just think all of the things that happened in high school, it just kind of has a way of making your path not seem so unknown. I think, when I graduated, I had some idea. I wasn't for sure if I wanted to go into education or social work or psychology or sociology, but it did give me some direction that knew that I like to help people. I like kids. I like learning about different cultures. So that I would say that was a defining moment for me.
Yeah.
I think that, unless you have any other miscellaneous things that maybe you wanted to talk about and we didn't cover.
Is there anything that any other random person had said about high school that I'm like,
No.
I remember it just being a good experience. I'm still friends with so many of the people that I went to high school with, and so there wasn't social media, so that was very different. So I feel like kids nowadays, there's kind of there's a history, there's a physical history of the things that happened, and I think I'm thankful that I didn't have social media then.
Yeah,
Well, all right.
totally. Thank you so